welcome back. I filmed this video before on my channel, but I didn't like the lighting. I didn't like what I was wearing. I didn't like anything. So I'm refilming it. And I'm kind of like experimenting with lighting and stuff. So let me know if you like this more like cool tone light. Yeah, I'll just get into it. So today I wanted to talk about my experience being in a sorority. My experience is a little unique just because I transferred and was in another house and then dropped that house but then became an alum. Like, there was a lot, but this will just be like a little overview of like what it's like being in the sorority event, stuff like that. This is not going to be about how to get in a sorority or like recruitment stuff. That I'll do like a separate video on later, but this is just like once you're in, like what it's like. It all started when my mom was a tryout in Colorado, and like her stories and experience with her friends like resonated with me, where I wanted to like have that too, you know? And so I decided like a big part of like a school I went to is to make sure that it had Greek life with it. I didn't want to go to an art school because of that. Like I wanted like a regular college experience. And so Kent State University in Ohio was like one of the top like fashion design schools at the time. And so I ended up going there, and they had Greek life and they had like Rush and all of that. While I was there, not all campuses do this, but if yours does it, definitely go. They had a like clubs fair, and so clubs, Greek life, and sports all like were out in a field, and you could go meet with them, talk to them, and stuff like that. And so I highly suggest you go to one of those if your campus has that, because it's a good way to get like an initial preview of all the sororities before Rush. So you kind of go in with a bit of an idea, and it also makes you look good too, because they'll remember your face, if not your name, and that you like took the time to go and talk to them about their house. And so it's good to make like a good first impression and show that you care. So after I did that, then I went through Rush. Once we signed up for Rush and everything, we were put in our Rho Gamma groups, and my group, I actually became friends with some of the girls in the group, and then some of them actually pledged my house. So even if you don't get a house from Rush, like I would still totally encourage every single person to Rush, because you never know if you might actually love a house, and you never know if you could make friends along the way, even if you don't pledge a house. My Rush, like for me, was a pretty easy pick. Like I like suicide bid it at the end. And so, but not everyone has that. Like some people get really torn of like who they want and all of that. So just like work with your Rho Gamma or whatever you call them to help you like pick. But for me, it was an easy pick. And so I got my bid. On the day of bid day, we had all of Greek life come out. And it was like kind of scary, like especially as a freshman, like to open your bid and then you have to go out on the field and meet your house. And so all the houses were lined up on this huge field, and you had to run out one by one to them. And there were like thousands of people there. Like it looked like the Hunger Games or something. I remember running out, and then we had our bid day celebration at the house, and so they gave us like a t-shirt. My bid day videos on YouTube, it's like really cringe, but like that's how it was back in 2014. And I wore the ugliest outfit. I literally wore a Victoria's Secret pink shirt to bid day. Like you should be wearing like something like this to bid day. I was a trash freshman, basically. Wear like cute clothes to bid day, because they'll take pictures of you and you'll want to remember that day and like have nice photos of it, and not be like me where like I deleted all of my bid day photos because I'm like, what is wrong with me? So then we go to the house, have the bid day celebration. Like they have drinks, and not alcoholic drinks, but like drinks, food, DJ, You get to meet the girls. Like, it's like just like a celebration, you know? And after bid day, you kind of like start attending more of the events and like socials and things like that to get to know your sorority and to get to know Greek life, like frats and other sororities too. And then you have your big little reveal. And so mine was in October, which is kind of late, but you know, every house is different. And so for big little reveal, usually go to the house and you're given an item to match with another item that your big has. So for ours, we had pumpkins. So my big had a pumpkin and I had the lid, and I had to match the lid to the right pumpkin to reveal my big. I know that not everyone like super gets along well with their big or is close with their big, but like my big was great. Like her and I got along just fine. Like we were friends. Once you're a sophomore, you repeat the process, but you're the big getting the little, and you do the little matching the item to the thing. And then sometimes you could get them a gift. It kind of depends on your house and like what they do. Once you go through big little reveal, then you have more just like events around campus to like you have your required events you have to go to. So that would be like in my case for Delta Gamma is, and I don't even know if I said that, but like I'm a Delta Gamma. Do I have any DV stuff here? Ugh. Yeah. So then after big little reveal, you get put into families. Typically, I was in the DAM fam. Within those families, some people do a lot with their family and some people don't do anything, like mine. Like we went out to dinner once and that was it. But you get a free t-shirt out of it. And then as it gets later in the semester, you start preparing for your exam. And so that is for your initiation. So bid day is you get in the house, and then initiation is you have to pass the test to stay in, basically. And initiation's like pretty easy usually. Like you study a lot for the test itself, but they typically will like help you pass. Once you pass the initiation exam, you go through the initiation process, and it's typically a ceremony. I can't talk too much about like the initiation day just because it's like a sacred ceremony and it's secret, and every like sorority's initiation day is a like different thing. My younger sister is actually a Delta Gamma like me as well, and so her and I could talk about it, and like we had the same pretty much experience, but I know if like other sororities, like they may do something totally different. So initiation is just something you'll have to experience to get. Once you're initiated, then you can just like attend more events, like you're officially part of the sorority, you get your composites. I'll put a picture of my composite here. Yeah, and then within the sorority, you'll go to as many events as you want to go to, basically. So it's kind of up to you to get involved, because there are mandatory events, but then there are a lot of other extra events that you can choose to go to. Kind of my mistake as a freshman was I really only went to the mandatory events, and I did not go to a lot of the like fundraisers and things like that, which I kind of regret, because I think it would have been like, it just would have added to my experience. For the big events, every sorority has their philanthropy. Within your philanthropies, you usually have like one or two like really, really big fundraisers a year. And so for my house in Ohio, our big fundraiser was Anchor Splash. And so it's basically you partner with the frats and they do like this synchronized swimming competition. And the ticket sales raise money for your like charity, basically. And so our Anchor Splash was so successful that we raised $22,000 for it on that day. And depending on how like big your house is too, like the like gravity of these events can differ, but for the most part, like you usually have one or two big ones. When I was part of the Madison house briefly, I remember we did a 5K, or maybe it was a 7K. It was like a walk first sight kind of thing. And so we all did this kind of walking, running trail to raise money. There are also like date parties you can go to. And I mean, those are pretty standard. Like you bring a date and you go and you dress up. And then frats have their own kind of like date parties you can go to too. And another thing is that like people I think don't get about Greek life is every sorority and every campus is like totally different. So for example, the Delta Gamma house in Ohio was totally different vibe than the Delta Gamma house in UW-Madison. You know, like we had Delta Zetas in Ohio and there were no Delta Zeta house in Madison. You know what I mean? So like you could have a huge house somewhere, but then another place that doesn't exist, or it's not a huge deal, or it's not your vibe, but then this other house is like, they're so different. So when someone's like, I'm a Delta Gamma, I'm better than everyone, it's like, it kind of like, it totally depends on like where. Long story short, house to house is totally different. So all the ranks and whatever doesn't matter, even year to year. My year at DG was great. I don't know if they're great still anymore, you know? So I know my mom, like her sorority was great back in the day, but she visited it a year or two ago and she said she wouldn't have pledged it now. So it's like you literally cannot compare yourself like to anyone in Greek life, like at all. Sororities are expensive. Like my parents helped me pay for mine, but I also would work summer jobs too to like cover half of it. So it was like a half and half deal. And I also would, because I didn't like attend a ton of events, I didn't like pay for every single thing, you know, like, so that kind of saved a bit of money too, as far as like you get a shirt every event, or like on the Greek store, you could really rack it up with just buying all kinds of stuff. So like as far as like finances go, like you have to pay dues and then you have to factor in those mandatory events and like the t-shirts. So like bid day would be mandatory. Anchor Splash would be mandatory. I believe most dues are like $800 to $1,200 a semester. But again, that's just in my experience. It could be more, it could be less, depending on the school you go to. And then within that, you have to factor in like t-shirts and stuff like that, or buying stuff for your big or buying stuff for your little. Like that could be a couple hundred right there. So that's kind of a negative with sororities. So that's kind of a financial overview briefly of it. I'm trying to think. So then, okay. So for my like experience, because I transferred, like I was saying with sororities are different from different campuses, that was the case when I transferred. So I ended up dropping and I had a little and everything, and I like, she was really nice, but like I just felt like I'm so new to the campus, I can't introduce you to anyone, I don't know how to help you, and like just like it wasn't like the house I would have pledged if I had rushed Madison, if that makes sense. But that doesn't mean it's not the house for someone else. So that's just me. And so I dropped and it sucked and I was really upset about it. But then I was talking to my mom about it and she was like, well, because you have a unique situation, like why don't you try and reach out to nationals? And so I was like, okay, worst case scenario, they can't do anything for me, right? So I reach out to nationals and basically they grant me early alumni-ship because they felt bad about what happened. They said it shouldn't have happened, and it happens to other girls, and so this is what they do. So like basically when I was a junior, I was an alum. So it was kind of a unique situation. And so as an alum, I could meet up with the local alumni chapters wherever I lived. So in that case, it was Minnesota. And I could like hang out with the alums there and like socialize with them, attend their events. And then I also wanted to like, you know, volunteer and stuff. And so I would help with certain events, and I also would help them with recruitment resumes. I don't know the exact term for it, but it's basically like girls who are really serious about a house will send DG like their resume and info about them, and then from there we would kind of look it over and give them recs for their schools. And so that was fun because you know, like I felt like I got to like help out some girls, you know, potentially who are really maybe looking to get into a house somewhere and like didn't have any connections or any legacies, because like, sorry, but like being a legacy for a house like makes your chances of getting in like 10 times higher. I was not a legacy for anything other than Tri Delta, but they were not at my school, so I had that like family sorority-ness, but like I didn't have a rec. And so I felt like maybe I could help people like who were in the same position as me. So I got postcards from girls who actually ended up pledging. So that was fun to see too, of like, wow, they got the house they wanted. As far as like becoming an alum goes, like you just pay very minimal dues. Like it's literally like under 50 a year. Like it's probably like 30. You can be part of the local alumni chapter. And so there's ladies from all different ages in it. And you can participate and volunteer with different events they have. You can help with Founders Day, which is like celebrating the founders of your house. You have like a bruncheon and all this stuff, and like the collegians attend too, but as an alum you help set it up, or you can if you want. And then I was also a board member briefly too. I did their communications, so I would like help with their social media stuff and take pictures at events. But I had to resign because it was like too much for my job. But if you have a more like easygoing, like set schedule job, like that could probably totally be doable, you know? So there's a lot of things, and like it's fun to still be able to like wear my letters. I feel like everywhere I go, I meet DGs, and it's like a fun way to make new friends. Like there's a girl that was at my old job who happened to be a DG, and we found out and became friends. So it's like, it can help like if you move a lot, or like you're kind of starting over somewhere new or a new job, to have Greek life connection. And even if you meet someone who wasn't in the same house as you, I feel like you can still kind of bond over that Greek life experience. That was basically like my experience in a nutshell. Like you go to events, you get your big, you get your little, you have like your initiation, pay your dues, and you like make memories with your friends, you know? You attend your weekly meetings, you do all of your required hours. Again, like I would recommend it to everyone to at least try, even if you don't find like the house that you want. Like at least try to go through a rush, and you never know, you know? So if anyone else has any questions, like let me know. I feel like I don't think this was very vague, but it, as far as like getting into a house and like rush and all that, that's where all the stress is, and like the preparation and all that for. So I'll make another video about that. Yeah, so I think that's pretty much it. Yeah, comment below any like other questions you have. Otherwise, yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one.